Okay. So this is what you have seen the voltage regulation for lagging power factor load. It is very easy to draw this phasor diagram, because once if you draw V2 as a reference, and we can write E2, and V2 plus I2 Z0, it is nothing but E2. You know, this I2 Z0 is divided into two parts, I2 R02 plus I2 X02. Again, we have to construct some triangles here. Here, this is theta. Here, this is also theta. We have to construct one right angle triangle. Therefrom, this length is nothing but the difference between those two. AG. AG is the approximate voltage drop difference between these two. So that we have written AF plus FG. AF is nothing but I2 R02 cos theta. FG is nothing but I2 X02 opposite side sin theta. This is for lagging power factor load. Coming to the leading power factor load, if you see, you have to draw like this. This is V2 as a reference. Current is leading with respect to V2 by an angle phi 2. This is U2 or V2 naught. Anyway, you can see, take this one. So therefore, in parallel to I2, you will write I2 R0 or I2 RE2. So parallel to I2, you have to draw this line. And 90 degrees to this I2 X0. So this is the resultant, I2 Z0. So the difference between these two is I2 Z0. The same way how we have written here, you construct a right angle triangle at this point like this. If this is theta, so this is also theta, this is also theta according to triangular principles. Triangle principles. That means if it is theta, then we should know this part. What is this? I2 R2 cos theta. So what is this part? I2 X2 sin theta. So we want the difference between these two means E2 minus V2 is equal to this I2 R02 cos theta minus I2 X02 sin theta. So that minus we can observe here. So for lagging power factor load plus for leading power factor load minus we can see from this triangle. So therefore percentage of regulation equal to, we can write I2 R02 cos theta plus or minus I2 X02 sin theta divided by V2. Have you come across this regulation in the first year? Somebody respond. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think you have a better idea about this. So plus or minus, plus is for lagging load, minus is for leading load. Therefore, we can write the regulation like this. And the same way, we can write the regulation formula either in terms of refers to primary or refers to secondary. Both ways you can write it. So if you take like this, so V1, I1 R01 cos phi naught, primary values if you refer, plus or minus I1 X01 sin phi 1 by V1. You can write like this also. Okay. So some important points we'll see in the regulation. So this is for leading power factor, you can see the regulation like this. This is zero regulation. For lagging power factor, it is positive regulation. So regulation poor means what? More difference. More difference between no load to full load. Regulation good means less difference between no load and full load. Poor regulation means high value. Good regulation means low value, low difference. That you have to understand. For lagging power factor load, you can observe the regulation is more. That means poor regulation. Most of the loads are lagging power factor load that you know, 0.8 power factor generally existing. For leading power factor load, you can see this negative side regulation. Okay. So let us see some conditions under which regulation is to be figured. What are these conditions? Rated voltage, current, and frequency. When regulation is stated without specific reference to the load conditions, if load is not mentioned, we have to take rated load. We have to understand it is a rated load. Waveform of the voltage should be assumed sinusoidal unless stated otherwise. Always. Power factor of the load should be mentioned, either lagging load or leading load or unity power factor load. We should know properly. Then only we can use the appropriate formula for calculation of the regulation. If the power factor is not mentioned, then you have to take it as a unity power factor. Simply E2 minus V2 by V2. And cos phi is equal to 1. The voltage regulation is an important measure of transformer performance. So the limits of voltage variation are specified in terms of voltage regulation. For example, transformers in public supply systems must be so adjusted that the voltage at the terminals of the consumers must not exceed plus or minus 5%. You know that the difference between no load to full load voltage must not be plus or minus 5%. The difference should not be more than plus or minus 5%. That means if you take an 100 voltage system, it can be either 95 volts, low voltage means, or 105 volts. It should not be more than 105 or less than 95. That should be maintained properly, because under voltage or over voltage, we have different consequences. So condition for zero regulation. So we can take I2 R0 to cos phi 2 plus I2 X0 to sin phi 2 by V2. For zero voltage regulation means the numerator must be equal to 0. So that means I2 R0 X0 to sin phi 2 equal to minus I2 R0 to cos phi 2 tan phi 2 equal to R2 by X2, where phi 2 is equal to this one we can write. So the negative sign indicates zero voltage regulation occurs when the load is capacitive. That is very important. So phi negative means what? It is a phi negative means it is a leading power factor. So this is the condition for zero voltage regulation. So what is the maximum voltage regulation? Condition for maximum voltage regulation. So simply you differentiate the regulation with respect to phi 2 and equal to 0. So if you differentiate the numerator part, cos phi 2 becomes minus sin phi 2, sin phi 2 becomes cos phi 2, and equate, you will get phi 2 cos phi 2 is equal to R by Z, R0 2 by Z0. This is the condition for maximum voltage regulation. So maximum voltage regulation occurs at a lagging power factor. You know that the difference between, I said, difference between voltages no load to full load is more in the lagging power factor load, less in the leading power factor load, capacitive load, because inductive loads, they consume more reactive power, therefore voltage drop is more. Capacitive loads, they supply reactive power, so that's why there is a generation of the voltage, therefore there is a negative voltage regulation. Even Ferranti effect also, the receiving end voltage is more than the sending end voltage because of the distributed capacitance. So that is also called as a light load. Capacitive loads are nothing but light loads. So if you want to discuss like this, we can discuss for more time. So the lagging power factor angle of the load, cos phi 2, is equal to the angle of the equivalent impedance of the transformer. Okay, we can write like this. Tan inverse of x by r is nothing but lagging power factor load. So now we have finished the voltage regulation part. Okay, so we can do problems on this based on the different conditions. We have discussed about the losses. We have discussed about efficiency, all-day efficiency, voltage regulation. Now we are going to the important part of testing of transformers. We have different tests in our syllabus: OC test, SC test, and sometimes back-to-back test and polarity test. If possible, I will try to finish this 4. Otherwise, we'll continue in tomorrow's class. So, I think you have better idea about this OCSC test already. You have come across these tests before. OCSC test, have you gone through in the first year?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And you have done problems on. You have gone through different types of problems, as well as in the laboratory also have conducted. Just a brief discussion about this. We are going ahead. This the performance of the transformer is calculated by on the basis of equivalent circuit. And as I said, any performance, why the tests are conducted? To find out the losses. In the DC motors also we discussed. You have to find the losses. From the losses, you have to find out the efficiency, heat, etc. Everything can be calculated. Therefore, our performance also can be judged by any loss in us. So the calculation of losses are important without actually loading the transformer. That is important. So we cannot load the transformer for the sake of testing, for the sake of a losses calculation, because it's waste of power. So in that, first, if we take the main parameters are to obtain from the test R01 refer to primary, or R02 refer to secondary. Leakage reactance X01 refers to primary, X02 refers to secondary. Magnetizing susceptance B0 or reactance X0, or core loss inductance G0 or X0. These are magnetizing branch, and these constants can be easily determined from OCSC test. From this, we can calculate anything what you want. So coming to the open circuit test, in the open circuit test, transformer secondary winding is open circuited. The secondary winding is open. Preferably high voltage side is open. Low voltage side will conduct the test equipment. So you have different reason for this. You can conduct the test on high voltage side. You can open circuit the low voltage side also. Anything is good. But why generally low voltage side is open? Because in the primary side, we have to apply rated voltage for the open circuit test. Rated, if it is a 110 by 220 volts transformer, if you take some 11 kV by 440 volts transformer, 11 kV by 440. So if you take the primary as 11 kV, 440 as secondary, then what happens? You have to apply 11 kV on the primary side. So you have to connect voltmeter, ammeter, everything corresponding to that 11 kV. So it is not economical. So it is not correct for the economical point of view to test the open circuit, to conduct the open circuit test. That's why if you take low voltage side primary and high voltage secondary open, this low voltage can be rated voltage can be applied, and the current flowing in the low voltage side, as I said, it is just some percentage, 1 to 2% or 3 to 5% of the full load current. That current will pass. You have to apply the rated voltage. And this is actually experimental setup. You can see this in the laboratory. If it is a 110 by 220 volts, this is not a general diagram. Very specific. If you calculate the current for that, you will get the current 230 volts. If you take and the kVA rating, if you take kVA by 230, if you calculate this current is very less, and you have to apply 110 volts. Then this is the LPF wattmeter. From that you will calculate the losses. So this is a simple test. And usually conductor always say why I told to find the no load loss or core loss, because under no load condition, as we discussed in the transformers, ideal transformers and practical transformers, under no load there is no current in the secondary side, load current. Therefore, the current supplied from the primary is only to support the core losses. And no load, because copper loss very few percentage in the primary side. No load current I0, which is helpful to finding R0 and X0. Now people are joining still, huh? So from the test conditions, if you write, I'm just admitting these people. Okay. So core loss can be written as, V0 from the meters given. V0 can be obtained from this, I0 can be obtained from this, W0 can be obtained from this. When rated voltage is applied, you have to calculate these values. And cos phi naught equal to the wattmeter reading by V0 I0. From that you can calculate IW working component, I0 cos phi naught, and magnetizing component you can calculate I0 sin phi naught, and therefrom you can calculate Y0 I0 by V0, and you can calculate G0 is equal to W0 by V0 square. Like this, the magnetizing components R0, X0 can be obtained of the equivalent circuit. So B0 is equal to Y0 square minus G0 square. This is the way these values can be calculated from the open circuit test. So you can see that this is the general diagram of the open circuit test: voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter, and HV side is open. And this is from the textbook some picture. Cos phi naught is equal to V by P by V into I naught, where P is the no load loss. That means which is given by wattmeter connected. From that you can calculate I mu and Im. So therefrom you will get R0 and X0. So this is the another way of observing this figure. So short circuit test. Short circuit test, if you see, this is the picture. You have to short circuit the low voltage side, and you have to conduct the test on the high voltage side. Very important. Which side you are conducting the test? High voltage side. Which side you are short circuiting? Low voltage side. Conducting the test means where you are connecting the meters. So why the high voltage side meters to be connected, low voltage side short circuited? Anybody respond? Do you have idea? Please, anybody? Why high voltage side we are connecting meters, low voltage side is short circuited. Do you know the reason? Yes. Somebody?
Sir,
Do you know the reason?
to minimize losses.
It is not minimizing losses here. There is some specific reason. One second. You see, on the high voltage side, the current is less. On the low voltage side, the current is more, because you know kVA rating is same on low voltage, high voltage transformer same. If the winding more number of turns, voltage is more, current is less. Less number of turns, voltage is less, current is more. It depends upon the cross sectional area, as I said. Because in the short circuit test, we have to conduct the test such that rated current should flow on this winding. Open circuit test, rated voltage we have to apply. Short circuit test, rated current we have to apply. So rated current, if it is 220 side, the current is less. Right. Okay. So to supply the rated current, 220 side less current is there. So ammeter requirement will be less. Here the voltage is just some percentage of the rated voltage. Okay. It is very less voltage can be applied to supply the rated current. That's why we are conducting the test on the high voltage side. And the wattmeter is selected based upon this voltmeter and ammeter ratings. And the low voltage is short circuited. This is the reason why we have to conduct the test on high voltage side. Let us go ahead. Short circuit test, secondary terminals short circuited and primary terminals are connected to fairly low voltage, and input voltage adjusted until the current in the short circuited winding equal to rated value. We have to adjust the voltage until rated current flows. Usually conductor on HV side. Test conductor on HV side means meters conductor on the HV side. Full load copper loss we will obtain. Here core losses also will get, but compared to copper loss, because 90% are copper losses, compared to copper loss, core losses are negligible. We won't consider maximum. We will take copper loss from the short circuit test, core loss from the open circuit test. So these are the parameters you can calculate. So to find out the voltage regulation. So as I said, the reasons for short circuit on the LV side and taking measurements on the HV side are rated current on HV side is lower than LV side. This current is safely measured with available laboratory ammeters. Since applied voltage is less than 5% of the rated voltage, because less than 5% of the rated voltage, if you apply, that is enough to supply the rated current. Therefore, greater accuracy in the reading of the voltmeter is possible when high voltage side is used as primary. So these reasons you should know. Open circuit test or short circuit test reasons should know properly. So this is the general circuit diagram for the short circuit test. So voltmeter connected, ammeter connected, all this, and we can see the equivalent circuit here: R1, X1, R2, X2, and magnetizing branch. This is a short circuit, and if it is short circuited, and most of the current will go in this direction, therefore we can neglect this part, I0 part. Therefore, that is removed. If you see here, therefore this is the way the current flows through the short circuit. That means it is equivalent circuit, the secondary side, equivalent circuit with secondary side short circuited. So this can be neglected. Magnetizing component. So model calculation, if you see IS square R01, WSC is equal to okay. R01 is equal to WSC by IS square. Z01 is equal to voltage applied, because we can minimize the circuit like this. As I said in the previous diagram, if you see, so if you neglect this magnetizing branch, this R1, X2, R1, R2, X1, X2, if you combine, so it will be R01, X01, refers to primary side. Then we can write the equations like this: R01 is equal to WSC by IS square, Z01 equal to VSC by ISV. From that, X01 will be calculated. Once these values are obtained, you can easily calculate the voltage regulation. So already you have seen this voltage regulation part and the transformer equivalent circuit, etc. Now I am continuing with now open circuit or short circuit tests are over. Now we are going ahead with this test, these calculations. If you observe IW, I naught, short circuit test, R naught to X naught, you can calculate. So these things already have seen. So if you take a problem on this OCSC test, let me show you one problem on this OCSC test. So this is the problem. A 200 by 400 volts 50 hertz single phase transformer from the following test data. OC test data is given, LV side, and SC test data is given, HV side, the voltage, current, and wattmeter reading, voltage, current, and wattmeter reading. Calculate the secondary voltage when delivering 5 kilowatt at 0.8 power factor, lagging the primary voltage being 200 volts. They are asking this. Let us see from the open circuit test, you can calculate, we can write the formula P naught is equal to V naught I naught cos phi naught. From that you will get cos phi naught sin phi naught. Therefrom you will get working component I naught cos phi naught, magnetizing component I naught sin phi naught. Therefrom you will get I R naught equal to V naught by IW. From the formulas, X naught equal to ohms. This is actually some typing mistake here. X naught equal to V naught by IM, which is equal to this one. And we got R naught X naught from the open circuit test. From the short circuit test, again, if you apply P is equal to IS square R naught 2. So therefrom directly you will get R naught 2. Refers to secondary side. So 0.85. Z naught 2 means VSC by ISC, 1.5 ohms. Therefrom we will calculate X naught 2. R Z naught 2 square minus R naught 2 square. So this is the way from the short circuit test we will get X naught 2, R naught 2. From this R naught, X naught we will get. So using this, we will calculate the K value is equal to 2. R naught 1 you can calculate, that is R naught 2 by K square. X naught 1 you can calculate, X naught 2 by K square, both the values refers to primary. So this is the circuit. This is the magnetizing component circuit. This is R naught 1, X naught 1. So refers to secondary also, you can do the same calculation. Okay, same thing. So if you transfer this R naught R1 to the secondary into K square, X1 into K square, then you can write the equivalent circuit like this. So therefore, load KVA corresponding to 5 kilowatt, 5000 by 0.8 power factor. If you draw, right, it is load KVA, 6250 volt amperes. Load current delivering this VA, you can calculate by 400 if you write. So it is 15.625 amperes because 400 is on the secondary side. So total voltage drop on the secondary side is nothing but we know the regulation formula I2 R naught to cos phi 2 it is plus I2 X naught to sin phi 2. We have all the values. R naught 2 is there, phi 2 is there, and sin phi 2 cos phi 2 you can calculate. And I2 already we got now 15.625. Therefore we got this voltage drop. Then what is the secondary voltage? V2 naught minus voltage drop. This is 377. Like this, using this OCSC test, we can calculate different values. Once if you get R naught 2, X naught 2, as well as R naught, X naught values. Okay. Okay. And separation of losses test, polarity test. First, I will discuss the separation of losses test. So separation of losses means we have iron losses, two types, hysteresis loss, eddy current loss. How to separate these losses? There will be a test for that. Okay. So if you see this entire circuit diagram, you can simply also, you can see like this also, different diagrams. So here, this is the transformer. One ammeter is connected, one voltmeter is connected here, one wattmeter is connected to calculate the current voltage and power ratings. Here, this transformer, primary, is supplied with an alternator. It is an alternator. Alternator, you know, is a generator, AC generator. So at this instant, you know the generator operation, AC generator operation. Do you have come across that? Do you come across that how the generator operates? Hello? Hello?
No, sir.
Yeah. Simply I'm telling you, three-phase generator, the rotor will be excited with DC supply. Here you see this is the rotor field. Field is excited by DC supply. And then once the excitation is given, then what happens? Normally the poles are soft iron. Once if you give excitation, field flux will be produced. Then once the rotor rotates, then stator is stationary here. Then EMF will be induced in the stator. That means rotor is made to rotate and rotor is given DC supply. When the rotor is given DC supply, it produces flux, is a rotating field type. It is different from DC generators. DC generators, armature is rotating, field is stationary. In the generators, field is rotating, armature is stationary. So that is a simple principle. When the rotor is rotating with some external drive, that's why here you see the field rotor is supplied with a motor. Here you know this is a normal DC motor connections. You come across this in the lab. 220 volt supply, DPST switch, fuse is there, and you are going to vary the field resistance. With this, the motor is run at rated speed, which drives the generator. That means the generator rotor is rotating, and generator field is given DC supply. When the field is given DC supply, then normally they are smooth iron, so they becomes north-south poles. When the poles are rotating, then there will be a production of the rotating flux. When that flux links with the winding, then what happens? EMF will be produced. So that is the way the generator produces required voltage to the transformer. So this is the procedure first will be adopted to supply the voltage to the generator. Why this setup is required? By varying the speed of the motor, the frequency of the output voltage of the generator can be varied. The main idea is the transformer should be supplied with variable frequency. Because if you want to separate the losses, the frequency is the main component, should have different frequencies, you have to conduct the test. So that's why to give the variable frequency input, you are connecting a generator here. If you vary the speed, then the frequency of the output of the generator varies. So that is required for this. Now you understand this setup? Understand the setup?
Sir.
Yes. If anybody have doubt, you can ask me. Now I am proceeding with the procedure. So unless you know the generator operation, you cannot understand.
Sir.
Yeah. So start the alternator with the help of prime mover. As I said, already these points I told. Adjust the speed of the prime mover. The speed you adjust so that the alternator output voltage is 50 Hz frequency. Vary the excitation so that the alternator required voltage will build up. If you vary the excitation, output voltage will be varied. If you vary the speed, frequency will be varied. So these are the 2 points. Note down all the meter readings by varying this excitation. Repeat, and that means you can vary voltage, you can vary the frequency also. Repeat the above steps for different frequencies by changing the speed of the prime mover. For 46 Hz, 48 Hz, 50 Hz, 54 Hz, for different frequencies, you calculate the V by F ratio, plot the graph between V by F versus core loss of the transformer. Let us see this. So this is W by F. You can take this losses by frequency divided by F. This is actually V by F. If you draw a line, so you can take one constant part and some variable part. What is this? Let us see in this. So you know eddy current loss equal to KHF into BM whole power X 1.6 plus this is hysteresis loss. Eddy current loss equal to some constant into F square BM square. This formula already you know. This is total core loss. So you know V is equal to approximately equal to E, which is 4.44 pi m NF. From that you can write the maximum flux density is proportional to V by F, because area of cross section is constant, number of turns are constant. It is V is proportional to V by F. Then we can write core loss. If you substitute this one here, V by F, the formula is like this. then we can write the core loss equal to some constant into F plus some constant into F square. The voltage applied is constant. So this is the way the core loss can be. This is PH, this is PE. So if F is taken here, PC by F is equal to some constant plus K2 into F. That means if you draw a graph between PC by F versus F, PC is the wattmeter reading, F is a variable frequency. Then this constant part is K1, and this slope, if you calculate, that means this vertical length, if you calculate, you know the slope, this vertical length is K2F. So that means from this, you will get K1, K2 values. Once K1, K2 values are obtained, you can calculate hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. This K1 is this part, and at the same point, this part is K2F. So K1, K2 obtained, you can calculate hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. This is the way we can separate the losses from this separation of loss test. This theory we can add from the material given. So if you take one problem, core loss is 100 watts at 40 hertz and 72 watts at some other frequency. Find the hysteresis and eddy current losses at 50 hertz. So you know the formula P by F, iron loss by frequency equal to A plus BF, as I said now. So what is this? 100 watts by 40 hertz frequency equal to A plus BF, right? So yeah, they have given 72 watts at 30 hertz. It is not clear here. 30 hertz. Again, you write A plus. What is that? 30 into B, because B value is here. So this is F frequency is 30. So using these two equations, you can calculate A value, B value. Once A, B are obtained, what is hysteresis loss? A into F. What is eddy current loss? B into F square. So like this, we can separate both the losses. So you see, normally total core loss is 100 watts. You have separated hysteresis loss and eddy current loss. So one more simple test is there. I will finish this test. Tomorrow we will discuss the Sampras back-to-back other discussion. Polarity test. Polarity test ends, similar polarity ends of two windings are those ends that acquire positive and negative polarity EMF induced in them simultaneously. If you take a setup here, so how is this setup in the transformer? You can see the primary windings, okay, it is supplied with voltage, and the secondary winding, primary winding is connected like this with a voltmeter here. So polarities can be checked under these polarities. That means whether they are same polarity means voltage is additive, different polarities if you connect the voltage is subtractive. How to conduct the test further? You give some AC supply, here you give one voltmeter, here you give another voltmeter, and you give the supply for this. You connect both the windings like this. Polarities can be checked by simple tests requiring only voltage measurements with the transformer under no load. In this test, rated voltage is applied on the winding, and the electrical connection is made between terminals of one and two other. The voltage across the two remaining terminals is then measured. What is the voltage across this? We will measure. If this measured voltage, if it is greater than the supply voltage, then the polarity is additive. If the measured voltage is less than the supply voltage, then the polarities are subtractive. So the terminals are then marked accordingly. That means how the polarity is, whether dot convention, you know, that polarities can be marked accordingly. Is it additive polarity or subtractive polarity? Based on that, the dot convention can be given. So this is a simple test for the polarity of these two windings. Now, tomorrow we will continue our discussion. The last 1 minute we have. We continue our discussion with the Sampras test, and as well as after completion of the Sampras test, which is very important even for the measurement of the temperature, etc. So we'll continue our discussion with the auto transformer, parallel operation, all these things. Tomorrow's session also very important. Don't miss. Once the single phase thing is over, we'll go to the three phase section. So we'll continue all these things tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Thank you.